Our next matchup is actually going to be something pretty special. So what you saw in our first show match was the sort of traditional 1v1 style of Blade and Soul. And most of the PvP, at least the rated PvP within Blade and Soul is on a 1v1 scale. However, Blade and Soul also has a 3v3 format, and even within the 3v3, it's mostly 1v1 with a little bit of you can either tag out for one of your teammates to come back in, take over, or you can also have one of your teammates interfere with the match. So for 5 seconds, they can come in and either stun your opponent, and you guys can work on a nice wombo combo, or if you find yourself in a bad position, sometimes your teammate can come and save you from that situation. So that's been personally one of my favorite formats to play with viewers on the stream. Get in there and duke it out. Have you had some fun experience with 3v3 as well?
Honestly, 3v3 is such a fun system. A lot more fun than people think. It's definitely unique. Just the whole fighting game mode into an MMORPG. I don't think anyone would have thought of that. And just the fact that you can come in and tag in and just for those 5 seconds, you have 5 seconds of fame when you're coming in to support your teammate. You got to make the most of it. And sometimes you just see the most beautiful combos really getting landed down.
Yeah, especially if you guys are in comms with each other, you get to show off for your friends. Oh, that's always been a lot of fun. I bet you have done a little bit of 3v3 in your day as well.
Yeah, 3v3 is a lot of fun. And something that's really fun about 3v3 is that the tables can turn so quickly.
Yeah.
Depending on how well one of your teammates assists or not. It's a very fun matchup. Hopefully it'll be very popular in NA when it launches.
Yeah, and it's been my experience as well with 3v3 that it is, it's very familiar in terms of you're still, playing the same class or still going against the same classes, but I think the fact that you have to be a lot more careful with your trinket than ever. If ever you use your tab ability to get out of CC, if you're not confident of your ability to stay alive at that point, you really need to get out of there, because as soon as the enemy team sees you use that tab ability, they're instantly, saying, let's set something up on this guy. Sometimes somebody gets you in a grab, and then you can chain damage and chain stuns on you after that in that short little tag-in window. I think some of my favorite combos have been, obviously my Destroyer, whenever somebody gets them in an air grab, because that obviously lets my Destroyer use the Wrath ability. So you just come in there, get your big axe swinging and doing a ton of damage. That's been a lot of fun. I think that our teams are getting specced up and ready to go. Obviously, in a 3v3 situation, you have to be prepared to adjust your character to a lot of different classes and have some sort of balance. Do you change your spec up very much for a 3v3?
What's very cool about 3v3 is that you can actually change your spec anytime during the match as long as you're not in combat. So it's something that you can do to really switch up your gameplay and your style and really trick your opponent and mind game them a little bit.
Have you ever done that where it's down to the wire, you have one opponent left, do you change your spec really quickly to match that opponent?
Sometimes you just gotta really spec yourself to ensure that you can maintain your victory, and especially when you're down a teammate, you gotta go with what you got, And just overall, the fact that you can tag out and really heal a little bit, just a little bit, just to break their momentum and really heal up and maybe have another opportunity to really turn things around. It's just so exciting to watch.
Yeah, and you have to use those interference opportunities wisely, because we only have a few of them. Yep. So, for example, on my Destroyer a couple times, I've tagged in and just put my shield up instantly to try to heal up a little bit, and then the interference is over, which is fine because it gets you a little bit of health later on. But if your teammate needed you at that time, sometimes that could have been a costly mistake. But you have a lot of options in Blade and Soul. There's a lot of room for creativity in the PvP, and I think that's one of the most fun and exciting things about it. Our teams are still getting set up, but let's take a look at our matchups here. It looks like we've got a Blade Master. Is that a Force Master and a Kung Fu Master? So the Master team versus the Assassin, Destroyer, Blade Dancer. So it's more like a defensive kind of spec comp versus a very offensive Assassin, Destroyer, Blade Dancer composition. What do you think is gonna take the edge here?
I think that what it really comes right down to is just how well the Blade Master, Force Master, and KFM team going. Obviously, all three of those classes really having that more patient, more counter playstyle, whereas you're going against an Assassin, Destroyer, and Blade Dancer, three classes who are well known to really maintain the control of the momentum and just a lot of aggression overall with all three of those classes. So it is somewhat of an intimidating comp to fight, but I always root for the Dark Horse, and that's what it comes right down to.
I think I'm going to be rooting for the Destroyer team only because I think that the Blade Master, Force Master, Kung Fu Master might end up being maybe a stronger 1v1. If they can have the match in their control, the 1v1 may be more stable. But I think in terms of the wombo combo potential, the Assassin and Destroyer Blade Dancer could really set something up. With at least Laguna. The Blade Dancer Destroyer combo. That's what sort of stands out to me a little bit.
The
What do you
Blade
see
Dancer
here?
Destroyer combo is really good. They have really strong assists. The Blade Dancer has a force grip, but so does the Force Master on the other team. The other team also has a KFM. Obviously, I have to root for the KFM.
Of course, of course.
Right? And judging from what we've seen, we've already seen one KFM win, so maybe we'll see another. But this match can really go both ways. Just like we said before, everything in this game is very skill-based, and these teams are balanced no matter what.
Well, yes. I mean, of course, like, you know, we are having fun discussing the different comps, but that last thing you said, you know, that's what it comes down to. Every class legitimately has a chance to be successful against any other class. There's a very even playing field, not only with the gear that we mentioned earlier, but also just with the classes themselves. And it really does come down to player skill. So, you know, we have a lot of fun breaking down the comps and whatnot, but, you know, one of the questions that you get asked a lot in any game is like, what's good? You know, what's the best class? What's the best setup? And you can genuinely say with Blade and Soul that, you know, you play what you want. Whatever class sort of, you know, grabs your attention, whatever setup really, you know, resonates with you, that's the one to play. Is that what you play the classes that you've played?
Most definitely. I think the important thing of playing a video game is to have fun.
Of course.
And, you know, maybe picking the strongest class might seem fun, but at the same time, though, picking classes that suit your traits as both like a player and as a person. You know, sometimes you really are you really push it to the limit without your aggression, or maybe you're the type of person who likes to think things logically, really like to take control of the situation, let it come to you. And you know, the great thing about Blade and Soul is just how creative and how diverse each of the classes are. And I think that every class in this game is definitely fun. I have a lot of fun just having alts, even though I love Blade Master, and there's all the characters that I definitely love to play.
But like you said, Flo, you can play offensively, defensively with almost every class.
Right.
You know, you have that opportunity to pick the class that, you know, suits you, that you think looks really cool, and you can play it the way you want and get really good with your own playstyle. A lot of people have very distinctive playstyles themselves within the same class.
Yeah, and there are 7 classes in the game, so they're all similar in their abilities to be, you know, offensive and defensive. They all have their unique traits, and it is a very balanced game. And I think one of the fun things about a game that has, you know, 7 classes isn't the most in the world. You know, it does give you an opportunity to have alts, not only to experience other classes in the game, but also to learn from them. So you can bring that knowledge into a competitive scenario and say, okay, so I've played this class. I know what it's going to try to do. I know its weaknesses, and you can exploit that. And I think that'd be something that you really want to get into. Speaking of getting into this, I think that we're just about ready to start our 3v3 arena match. I think we can take it into the Octagon Arena right now and see what these players are doing to get set up.
So right now we're just about looking to see who's actually going to be leading the pack of each party right now. Definitely am looking to see perhaps 2 maybe tank-like classes really lead the charge and having their friends support them.
KFMs are really good at leading 3s. They aren't particularly tanky in the arena as everything is balanced. All the gear is balanced, so them being tanky means that they are very good at avoiding and negating damage. They have a block that they can use pretty frequently, and their strafe, their side-to-side QEs, last a little bit longer than most classes, so they're very, very good at baiting out your opponent's cooldowns and really having the opponent and the other 3s team use up all their assists and tags.
Yeah, personally, as a destroyer, I always like to get in there and mix it up right off the bat. You know, test the waters a little bit, see if you can force your opponent's defensive cooldowns a little bit with some of your early tactics, early stuns, early knockdowns, and then use that to set up combos later on. But all right, Flo, let's get us started with this.
And here we go, and we've got the Assassin already opening up with his invisibility, trying to set up a combo on the KFM. KFM actually managing to get out of that situation, 2v1, but here comes the Destroyer, getting the grapple.
Obviously, you can see there's a ton of people tagging in and out constantly, but the Kung Fu Master did a great job as soon as the enemy team tagged in, and it was a 2v1 scenario, used that AoE stun, knocked both of the opponents down, and really allowed himself to stay out of a potentially harmful situation.
KFM might be in trouble here. He already used his tab, which is his primary escape, and the other team knows that happened, and they came in to assist and get that damage in, but his teammate quickly comes in, save the KFM.
Yeah, right now we see our Kung Fu Master taking quite a bit of damage on that health bar, trying to get a little bit back with that ground and pound tactic, but I think he's just going to go ahead and get out of dodge for now.
It looks like there's a lot going on here. They're using up all of their assists and tags very quickly. But as you can see, they still have their KFM in the match. He's doing a good job of... Oh, and there he goes. There goes...
He decided not to get out of dodge and pay the price there. That's one of the things about 3v3. You know, you can and maybe even should allow your teammate to take over, while you get your defensive cooldowns back active. Because if you get stuck in a bad spot, the enemy team is definitely going to take advantage of that.
Well, it looks to me like team master classes over here is definitely gonna have a lot of trouble going 2v3 and going against all three of these opponents right now. Definitely getting outnumbered, but Force Master managing to get that Phantom Grip down, trying to do some damage and locking down the Assassin. Assassin knowing this, swapping out with the Destroyer.
Yeah, that Force Master was playing melee range there for a second, and then they realized they probably ought to, take a few steps back, get that root down there, and try to, pump out some damage. But I don't think the Blade Dancer's going to have that.
This Force Master might want to tag out here in a little bit. This they swap. Oh, there he goes.
It's a double tag, looks
Yep.
like.
Now he can sit back on the sidelines, get his cooldowns back. That ice prison, that ice freeze that you saw him do can actually heal him. So it's really important for him to have that in freeze. It's a good advantage in long matches like this.
Yeah, that Destroyer tried to go for a throw combo, but the Blade Master, with really heads-up play, was able to break his throw at the exact moment he was trying to, toss him into the air. That's one of the abilities that you can do. We know that Blade and Soul is a game that, once you get familiar with the basic abilities, basic combos, then it really becomes a mind game, understanding when your opponent is trying to do things. And the Blade Master had a really good sense of that and disrupted a potentially really scary combo from the Destroyer.
Blade Master actually playing a lot more. A lot better as his team is a little bit outnumbered right here, actually surviving multiple attempts at his life, maintaining his pressure onto the Destroyer. Destroyer not really sure what to do here, managing to get his grab into the pile driver, locking him out of his defensive abilities, and here comes the Force Master coming in for the save.
So what we just saw there was a little bit of that wombo combo I was talking about. It seemed that the Destroyer really had his opponent in a really scary spot, had an opportunity to animation cancel on him, but his teammate came in, almost saved him, but I think the Blade Master is going to go down here. So all right, so it looks like the Force Master is the only one of his team left alive, but I think the Destroyer is definitely up to the task.
Who knows, maybe this Force Master can pull it out. I've seen some 1v3s before.
Yeah, the Destroyer is definitely able to maintain the spacing that he prefers right in melee range, but we see the Force Master use that Force Grip and throw him all the way across the arena. He says, you need to stay over there. I'm not trying to have you in melee range. I'm just going to sit behind my wall of fire and see what I can do.
Definitely hoping to see a mini Jaesung here going for the 1v3, putting out tons of pressure onto the Assassin. The Assassin struggling with the root. When here comes the Destroyer, trying to come and follow up, but Force Master maintaining such a distance despite all the pressure.
That was a beautiful tag disruption there. We saw the Destroyer try to come in and help his Assassin friend, but the Force Master, in a really heads-up play, used that root on both opponents and then was able to keep the Destroyer at bay.
I think this Force Master's not going to 1v3 them anymore. This Assassin seems to have his number here. The Force Master's out of options, and there he goes.
There's a valiant struggle. We see our winners quite happy, but as they should be. These show matches are a lot of fun, and I hope the quality and the fun of Blade and Soul PvP is going on. See, even the guys who maybe weren't quite as successful are still having a good time. That's good to see. But I think they're going to get a second shot at this. They might not be done yet. I think that if the Kung Fu Master allows his teammates to come in and help him when he needs it, oh, never mind, they're getting the boot. They said you had a chance. This is still a fun match to watch. But I think that we have a post-match interview, hopefully with the whole winning team. We'll see. The Master team took him out, huh? The Blade Master, Kung Fu Master, and Force Master. They played pretty well. And let's go ahead and take it down to the main stage with TK and see if he's got our winner standing by.